Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to the Manhattan Community Board 11 Public Safety and Transportation Committee on this, the June 16th, 2025. It is now 6:38. I am the chair of the committee. My name is Michelle Wilshire-Clement, and we have our liaison, our staff liaison, Khalid Nixon, joining us today. Thank you, Khalid. And may you start with the roll call, please.
Let's do ground rules
But
first.
before I should remember this, but whatever. Our ground rules, no one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. To raise your hand through Zoom, click the participants icon and you will find the raise hand function there. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair, myself, will recognize the next person to speak. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. And members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Okay, and now Khalid, can you do a roll call?
So there are 10 committee members, 6 needed for quorum. Jose Altamirano is excused. Carlos Diaz.
Present.
Thank you. Pascal Hano.
Present.
Thank you. Wanda Hopkins.
Present.
Thank you. Johnson excused. Jewel Jones.
Here.
Thank you. Sage Mason excused. Valerie Ponte.
Here.
Thank you. Dawn Sanders.
Here.
Thank you, Dawn. And Michelle Wilshire-Clement.
Present.
All right, you have quorum, Chair.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to find out if you'd like to adopt the June 2025 agenda. In the absence of no objections, the agenda for this evening has been adopted. I would like to also find out if we'd like to adopt the March through May 2025 minutes. And if you want to make any further additions a little bit later on during the summer, we can opt to have that. In the absence of any objections, that also will be adopted. The announcement. Do we have any announcements? Okay, I will add the announcement that we are still going to be having our Marcus Garvey. I would hope that our public can be a little quieter. The Marcus Garvey basketball tournament is still happening, and if you want the information on that tournament, which is by one of the groups is the with the police department. I can't remember their name right now for some odd reason. And it's going to be a tournament where the cash prize is $100,000. So think about it, go online, check it out, get the information. It is in our newsletter. Do we have any informational updates?
Yeah, so I'll just read, or at least I'll put over Detective Matos' report real quick. He just provided a 28-day crime report. You can see it here. Crime is down 27.6% for the 28-day period. You'll see the breakdown here for the major crimes. I'll make sure that this is posted up on our website, but you'll see overall, damage percentage increase for grand larceny, and a total minus 27.6%. Next community council will be on Wednesday, June 24th, Union 7th, 237 East 104th Street. And no major crimes were reported for the 116th Street Festival. One shot was fired at East 106th Street, Lexington Avenue to 3rd Avenue. Shooter was apprehended immediately. due to the breakdowns of the officers in the area. So if you have any questions for the 23rd precinct, just feel free to email us, and then I'll forward that over to our liaisons over there.
Thank you, Kelly, for giving us that update. Of course, we would want the detective to come and participate in our meeting, but I'm glad that he was able to give us a written update.
Our schedule for this month was impacted by Eid and the primary election, so it put everybody a little bit off.
We had a lot of changes.
We have Detective Powers on the line. She can
Oh,
do.
Detective Powers, can you please give us an update for the 2-5 precinct?
Good evening, everybody. I hope all is well. Just a sidebar, like I know a lot of our officers have been pulled because of things that's going on with the city as far as protests and everything. So we do want to apologize for our absence, in regards. So far in the 25th precinct, crime is down overall by 25%. We have 0 murders for the 28-day period. We have 2 rapes that both of them were domestic violence incident and they're case sensitive. Robberies, we have 21 versus 20 in the 28-day period. Felony assaults, we have 28. We're down by 39%. The original number was 46. Now we're down by 39% with 28. Burglaries, we have 9 burglaries. Grand larcenies, we have 33. We are down by 26% compared to 45 in which we had the last time. Grand larceny autos, we have 4 for the 28-day period. The officers and the community been doing like a good job and like letting people know like don't leave keys in the cars, especially when they're doing deliveries like Instacart and Uber Eats and stuff. You will be seeing a lot of posts, like foot posts because of the summer, down 116th Street, 125th Street, 126th Street, like all our major, high crime areas, 3rd Avenue as well. You will be seeing a lot of these officers there, all throughout the day to make sure, crime is down and they're visible and, people feel, safe to walk down the streets. Our community council meeting is actually tomorrow, is usually every 3rd Wednesday of the week of the month, I'm sorry. But because of scheduling conflicts, it will be tomorrow. It will be at the precinct and it will start at 6 o'clock. That will be the last community council meeting until fall starts. So we will not be having any meetings in July and August. And again, it will be at the precinct. It's going to begin at 6 o'clock. That's our 28-day period information.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we won't be able to come because we have full board, so it's mandatory for all of us to be there. Do we have any questions for Detective Powers? Let's go. Thank you. No, any questions online? Thank you for coming and giving us an update, as well as thank you for your service. Have a wonderful summer, and I hope to see you during the summer.
Yes, everybody, just if you need us at any events, definitely just reach out to us. I know, again, I know we're pulled in all different directions during the summertime, but we will try our best, especially if it's a kid event. We will be keeping in contact with everybody, make sure your email is on our mailing list. That way, whatever events that we have in the summer, which we have some lined up, we will let everybody know. I'm going to leave my email address inside the comments, just in case if anybody want to reach out to me in regards. But everybody have a safe and enjoyable summer. Please, please, please be safe.
Take care. Thank you. Oh, hold on.
Dawn and Tiffany have their hand raised.
We have 2 questions. Dawn, you have the floor.
First of all, Detective Powers, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for being out there and helping us this summer. I just wanted to know how GovBall went, but first, I'm not sure whose precinct that. I don't know if GovBall falls in your precinct, but I think last year there was a lot of phones stolen. I just wondered, did things get better this year? And if that's not you, then forgive me, because I don't know.
No worries. GovBall used to be in our precinct, but unfortunately they went to Queens. I guess due to like, permitting issues. So they've been in Queens for like the past couple of years now.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
We still have events in Randall's Island, but Gov Ball is actually one of the events that stopped coming to Randall's. They now go to what is it, Met Stadium in Queens?
Oh, really? Oh, I
Chase
didn't
Stadium,
even.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
no problem.
And then Tiffany Foster has her hand raised.
And thank you, Donna, you finished?
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
okay.
thanks, Chair. Yep.
Okay, and member of our public, Tiffany Foster, you have the
Good eve-
floor.
Good evening, everyone. Detective Powers, I'm gonna be speaking later, but I wanted to know when there are like street closures, like some activity or something going on the block, and the police department put up signs, say, for example, no parking on Saturday, no parking on Sunday. No one comes to take those signs down. So no one knows if those signs are something that's current or old. And I find myself having to call the precinct just to make certain that it's not, something current. So I don't leave my car and get a ticket. So what can be done about that?
Okay, so honestly, when it comes to that, we do apologize. Normally, we do have people come around and take the signs. I guess, like I said, like there's been times we've been short and like it'll slip our minds, but definitely like, once we put the signs up, we'll note on our thing that, hey, like this event was from this day to this time, and then the next day or the day after, we'll come down and take it. So that's something I'm going to note, so I can tell the desk and all the other officers in the command. So
So
again, we apologize on our behalf.
the area that I'm specifically talking about is 125th to 128th, 3rd Avenue, and up and down the blocks. Yeah, there's still signs currently right now, still on trees, posted on trees and on poles that say no parking on Saturday.
Where the church is.
Yep.
Okay. I'm
On
gonna
both-
look into that.
Yeah.
I know the last person who had an event was Marlene Murray from the church over there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we'll look
Mhm.
into that though. I'll
Yeah.
look, because we don't have anything else coming up over that block.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, and also, while we're on that subject, when the cars do get towed, well, by us, they don't get towed to a lot or anywhere that you have to go and pay. They just get towed to the next available street, like where there's an opening, and then like you can call 311 or the precinct, but mostly 311. You could just look it up on your phone and they'll tell you the exact location where the car was towed. So just wanted to-
May I make a suggestion though? When they do put up those signs, maybe if they put dates on it, that would be helpful too. Then people would be able to know, okay, this is not a current,
Okay.
sign.
Definitely. We'll
Thank you.
definitely note that. No problem.
Appreciate you for listening.
Great questions, Tiffany. Thank you.
Michelle?
And there's another person who has a question.
Well, it's more of a statement, just to let you know that on 120th Street in front of Hallmark Park, barricades were left, after the Third Avenue, festival, and we're hoping that at some point they can be removed.
Where is it at? 3rd Avenue and where?
In front of Art Park, where they had the headquarters, where people, for the Third Avenue Festival, they left barricades on the
Okay.
sidewalk.
Are they not the barriers for the basketball tournament? Because I know there's gonna be a basketball tournament over there for the summer. But I'll double check into that, because I know somebody requested barriers over there because they're gonna be having the basketball tournament in the art park. Like
Okay.
over by, yeah. But I'll double check with that though. But if not, then I'll just reach out to the barrier section so they can pick that up. It happens sometimes, like they'll come around, they'll pick up barriers, but they forget a few. So. But I'll double check,
Debbie.
make sure if that belongs to the basketball tournament.
Just
Okay.
email me tomorrow the address so I can email it to Troy, to Detective Powers, okay?
Okay, so the address will be emailed to you tomorrow?
Okay, but you said 120th though.
Yeah, 120th, yeah.
Okay.
Debbie, say your name because we have to.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. And I think those are all the questions. Okay, thank you, Detective Powers.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Had a wonderful summer.
You too.
And do we have anyone from the fire department? Wait, before I get to anyone from the fire department. Are we still on duty?
Let me see my way.
Okay. And yes,
I did have a question for the fire department, but they're not here.
they're not here.
So just,
So much a complaint and observation that there's a broken fire hydrant on 108th Street between Lexington and Third Avenue.
have you submitted
It's not
a,
working.
have you submitted a 301 complaint?
There's actually 2 broken fire hydrants.
Have you submitted a 311 complaint about this
Yeah.
matter?
Can you forward that request to me later, and then I can forward that over to our FD1?
Yeah,
Okay,
and DOT broken street lights also in the middle of 100.
Well, that's the next,
I know,
that's the
I'm
next.
Well, so service requests, it's better to just send it to us. I can forward that to Raphael and our liaisons instead of
Got it.
waiting a whole, month to
Thank you.
relay that, okay?
Mhm. Okay, so now, any updates from the Department of Transportation, or would you like to have everything in old business?
Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to postpone my comments
Mhm.
until the old business session, so I can bring up.
Everything together,
Yes.
that is very wise.
Sorry, I don't understand.
That was apropos. Okay, and do we have anyone from the MTA? Anyone from the district attorney's office?
No.
Okay, any public safety transportation advocacy groups?
Tiffany has her hand raised again.
Tiffany Foster? You have the
Did,
floor?
did,
Is it-
was there a representative for the Department of Transportation?
Yes, however, I would hope that you would, aren't you doing a little bit of a presentation about?
Oh, okay, so I'll throw it in there too. Thank you.
Yes, okay. And do we have any community outreach reports?
Nobody has their hand raised.
Okay. I know I've gone to a few things. And everyone has been really happy about it, like the East Harlem Night Out, I think that's what it's called?
These Harlem Nights.
East Harlem Nights, I've gone to both of them. And they have really, I think, really bring the community together in a happy, quiet way. And also to Randall's Island to just hang out. It's important for all of us to really be seen and participate with the community and take polls for different areas, even if they're verbal polls and not written, for places like Pleasant Avenue and redesigns, and find out how the community feels about different things. Moving on. It is now time for the parking regulations change request. And who is doing that presentation? Tiffany Foster for the East 126th Street between Park Avenue to Second Avenue. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Tiffany Foster, you have the
All
floor.
right. Thank you. Thank you again. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to address the committee and the community. I also want to thank Chairperson Wilkshire Clement for meeting with me before this meeting, and to Khalid for always responding promptly to my emails. So I come to you today to raise awareness about the lack of street parking on East 126th Street between Park Avenue and Second Avenue, and I ask for your support, the committee's support in changing these parking street times for the residents in this area. Currently, the street parking signs between on East 126th Street between Second and Park Avenue state no standing from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. And then from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, there's no parking. So this means that from Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., from 126th Street, from Second Avenue and Park Avenue, every day, well, rather Monday through Friday, there is no street parking. This creates a problem for those of us who have cars, who work at home, or need to park our cars to take mass transit to work or whatever, and we need to park our cars. On East 126th Street, between 2nd and 3rd Avenues, there are 2 vacant lots, one on each side of the street. Next to one of the vacant lots is the New York Proton Center. That address is 225 East 126th Street. And they use that lot for their employees and patients. On the other side of the street, on 126th Street, is another vacant lot that is on the side of 2319 3rd Avenue, 1 East Harlem, that building, and the Bay Areas for the Food Bazaar supermarket. When I moved over to this area, 126th and 3rd Avenue, almost 2 years ago, I noticed that the signs on 126th Street, 127th Street, and 3rd Avenue, and also 127th Street, between 3rd and 2nd, said alternate side parking 5:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. So I thought that those times were just unreasonable, along with the Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., no parking. Like, this is a residential area. When I began looking into how I can request the time change, I noticed that on 126th Street through 127th on 3rd, that the alternate side parking times had changed from the 5:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. to now it's 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., which I think is reasonable, right? But in 127th Street between 3rd and 2nd, the time never changed. It remains 5:30 a.m. to 7 in the morning. Now, with the current parking times the way they are on East 126th Street from 2nd Avenue to Park Avenue, it forces residents like me in this area to either pay the outrageous parking garage fees, which places another financial burden on us on top of all the other things that are going up around us because we can't park on the street where we live, or we would have to park blocks away because there's no parking. For example, the monthly parking in the garage that's right here in 126th Street and 3rd Avenue between 3rd and 2nd, August of 2023, that parking was $340 for an SUV. A year later, August 2024, it went up $100. So now it's $440 a month to park. So both things are unreasonable and allows, there's 2 parking garages. The one I just mentioned, and then there's another one across the street going towards Lexington on the same block of East 126th Street. Both things are unreasonable, allows these 2 parking garages to have a stranglehold on the residents in this area and to continue to be able to charge outrageous fees because they see we don't have any choices. This is a residential neighborhood. This is not a commercial area like it used to be back way in the days. Street parking signs, the street parking signs don't reflect that this is a residential neighborhood. The area is changing and the parking needs to change as well to accommodate its residents. So I'm asking the community board, the committee, to support this request to change the street parking signs from East 126th Street, from 2nd Avenue up to Park Avenue, from what it currently is to either the same as it is on 126th to 122nd and 3rd, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Monday and Thursday, and Tuesday and Friday, or 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Also, I don't want to, because I know I'm talking fast, I don't want to forget what I mentioned earlier in East 127th Street between 3rd and 2nd. I think those are unreasonable hours as well, and asking for that to be changed too. The other thing I want to bring up is related to temporary no parking signs when there's construction going on in this area. So on 120, between 125th Street and 126th Street on 3rd Avenue, there was some construction taking place. Con Ed had signs that said the construction would be over by June 3rd. And around about that time, I think the construction did stop. DOT put up temporary parking signs on the street from 125th to 126 on 3rd, and signs are still up. Well, rather, one block of street, one block, you got closest to 125th Street, there's a sign up that still says no parking, temporary construction. On the same block, it was 126th Street, where there's no sign. So you got on one block, one sign that says no parking, temporary construction. On the next corner, there is no sign. So there's no consistency. Is it no parking, temporary parking, restricted? What is it? So my concern or question, I'm asking for some clarification with DOT to be consistent. The same thing, like I said, with the police department, when they put these signs up, if it's no longer relevant, someone needs to come take them down. So asking for whatever assistance the committee can give or point me in the direction to where I need to go for some help. And again, I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to me, allow me to speak, and thank you again.
Thank you, Tiffany Foster, for giving us that presentation. And thank you for your patience coming last month and giving a very succinct, brief overview of what you had said today in detail, and being so persistent. I know the history of how you've been going about this through the month. And I wanted to add that it was an oversight when the individual came previously and we had the letter of support given to change it to 8 to 9:30 for that one particular area, not realizing that it did not really go towards the entire area that was affected. This is something that would go all to the DOT as well as the Department of Sanitation, because they are the ones that have to come and clean the streets at certain times, but they don't need the entire day. And yes, it was during a time of a commercial area, but it is obviously a residential area at this particular point. Do we have any discussion first on the board? Yes, Pascal.
Thank you for the presentation. Just have a question. Can you just clarify the no parking sign extends all the way from Park Avenue all the way to 2nd Avenue?
Yes.
On both sides of the street or just one?
Both.
Thank you.
So it's not just for clarification. So from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., it says no standing, right? And then from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., it's no parking. So even though the language has changed regarding the parking, it's still, you can't park for a 12-hour from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And yeah, it's baffling to me. So
yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany, and thank you, Pascal. Are there any questions online? Dawn, you have the floor.
Hi there. I just wanted to point out that I thought that was an excellent presentation. I really appreciate that you looked at the parking holistically, because this is something that we don't always get to look at. When we many years ago, when we shifted to bike lanes on 1st and 2nd Avenue, there was an agreement that the local parking would be no more than $200 a month, and then I think, little by little, people forgot that agreement and the parking just went up and up and up and up. And I think NYCHA lost their parking. Well, they lost free parking around that time. And so the idea that the parking lots are taking advantage of that gap. You know, the fact that you pointed that out and you pulled everything together, I just think that's really great. And I put it in the chat, but I just wanted to say that looking at holistically how all these things come together is important. And then, you know, when someone puts a brand new building, I know right now we don't have to, no parking is necessary for new construction. I don't know when that happened. But I think it's important for people to realize that when you do new construction and you don't have any parking, then you kind of hurt the quality of life of the people who live there, and it's not
right.
something to just overlook. So anyway, not to drag it out, but Ms. Foster, great presentation, and thanks for shining a light on how all those pressures come together in a neighborhood. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dawn.
I did have one more question.
Hold on a second, Tiffany, I just wanted to find out if there was a person that wanted to ask you. Okay, go ahead, Tiffany.
So, you know, I guess, you can email me or something, or what the next steps are, or someone can let me know here, like what would be the next steps after this? What's the process?
Okay, but we're still in discussion, so bear with us.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Raphael, you had.
Yes, I have to clarify something here. You talked about construction signs. We usually don't install construction sign around construction area. Now, you
Excuse
also
me,
talk-
Raphael, can you say who you are?
Oh, I'm sorry. Raphael, for the record, Raphael Escano, Borough Planner from the Manhattan Borough Commissioner Office.
Department of Transportation.
Department of Transportation, obviously. Can you hear me? Can she hear me?
Tiffany, are you still with us? Can you hear Raphael speaking?
I'm trying to write down, because at first I couldn't hear what his name was. Raphael.
Raphael Escano, Escano.
Okay.
You could communicate with Khalid, and Khalid then will send me the message accordingly.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
now, I just want to clarify a couple of things here. First, when she talked about construction signs, they're installed by the developers or construction employees.
Mm-hmm.
She also talks about non-standing signs. Those are installed by us, DOT. So I just wanted to ask you whether that is correct. My assessment that indeed the construction signs are there, as well as the non-standing sign, which are installed by DOT.
It's two different things.
Correct.
So
She put two different issues at the same time. So the first issue was to change the no standing and no parking signs to reflect a residential neighborhood. The issue on, Raphael, the issue.
Yeah, and the construction temporary signs.
That was another issue.
That's another issue.
At a separate location?
At a different location. It's around the corner. It's around, so on 3rd Avenue, east of 125th Street to 126th Street, there was construction taking place here. And Con Ed had signs on the barriers that said that it would be ending around June 3rd. On the left side of 3rd Avenue from 125th to 126th, there's signs up. And if I could share my screen, I can show you them because I have pictures and everything to support everything I'm saying. There is a sign up there that says it's from DOT. So we're talking about, it's two different things, as Michelle said. The DOT sign is on 3rd Avenue on 125th, 126th. There's two poles on 2 poles on this one stretch of block. Both of them had signs up from DOT that said temporary, no parking, temporary, no parking, right? It was voted.
may I interject? I just wanna make sure that we don't get, because our main purpose today was to be able to inform the Department of Transportation that the residential area is being bombarded by commercial signs.
Correct.
And to change those commercial signs is the request from a ridiculous time period to 8 or 8:30 and to whatever hour, and then have alternative side parking. Instead of no standing, that changes into no parking. That is the main issue this evening.
Thank you.
That was what was brought up before, and that is what is the main request. The other request will be shown at another time so that all pictures and
We can probably just handle it in office. It probably doesn't have to be a committee related.
but this particular thing for the letter of support and to describe is what is important to change for having parking in the neighborhood.
Yes, of course. Send me
Yes, I'll
the description.
I'll talk to
and
Tiffany.
then
Yes,
we could
we'll work
do
on
it,
that.
you know, follow it up accordingly.
for
And
sure.
because it was brought up last month, we can technically vote on it this month.
Technically, yes. Jewel has her hand raised too.
Jill Jones, you have the floor.
And then Don.
Thank you, everyone. Just want to clarify, were there pictures provided in terms of the areas to the board members? Just to
The pictures are in her presentation, if you want to share this, share her screen, and she can show them.
I don't have access to those pictures on this email account. It's in the main office email account. Tiffany, do you have those pictures up? If you want, you can share your screen
Okay,
for
that's fine. Yep, I have them up.
and
Okay.
secondly, what for board member purposes? I know Khalid, you said you were handled something, but for our purposes, what exactly is being requested of us specifically? And if something is, I need to see things in writing and pictures, so I would need and if they were provided prior to this meeting, forgive me.
Okay, so Tiffany's asking for us to petition to DSNY to change the current sign regulations from what they are right now to no standing and no parking, and changing it to either Monday or Thursday, for no parking from 8 to 9:30 a.m. or 8:30 to 10 a.m. For alternate sides. So Monday, Thursday on one side, Tuesday, Friday on the other side. That's what's being requested of us. To support that request to DSNY.
That's correct.
And
That's correct, Khalid, thank you.
Sure, so I think you should just be able to share your screen. Tiffany, if you have those pictures up.
Let's see. So this is one of the lots I mentioned.
Hold on 1 second, I'm not sure.
I don't know if you're able to see it.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, bear with me because I'm learning how to go to the share and go to the, do I just click on the next picture? Or do I have to stop
Probably.
sharing?
Maybe, you can see what you have up right now.
You can also just go to the, switch to the next picture.
Oh, okay.
But explain what is on the screen now.
This is the lot on the opposite side of the street. Let's see. I think I may have to come out so I can actually see what it is. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I see that. 5:30 to 7 a.m.
That's in East 127th Street.
Do you have any pictures
And-
for?
Yeah, I have to
126?
go. Yeah, I have to go back through my emails because it's I sent those emails those pictures a while ago. If you want to just continue on with the meeting, I can go through and get them. And if you have some time, I can show them, or I can resend it to the committee.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So we'll circle back to you.
And Dawn has her hand raised too.
Dawn, you have the floor.
Thank you. I was gonna do a motion to support, but I realized that we wanna, the committee wants to look and do the due diligence, which is great. But if we don't do a motion to support now, we'll just have to wait until September.
Yes.
It would have to wait till September. We did hear what Tiffany had proposed last month at the very, very end of our meeting. And it was very short because we were all extremely tired. And so I asked her to come and give a more detailed description of what we had voted on for a letter of support in part of that area, not realizing that the whole area was being affected by this early morning transfer and no parking between the streets.
Oh, I would hate them to have to wait the whole summer. That's the only thing I was thinking. I'd hate for them to have to wait the whole summer, but
me too.
But that was my
Me too.
question, because I was gonna motion to support, but I don't know. I don't want to do that if people, don't yet feel comfortable, so.
Well, we can take a vote on how people feel comfortable, but I think there's another person that is online for a question.
Jill has her hand raised again. And
Jill
Dawn
Jones?
has his-
And then after Jill Jones, Rafael Escano.
So I am comfortable with moving forward. Thank you. So I'm prepared to move forward. At a later date, if you provide photos, that's great. But I think we all feel comfortable in moving forward. So I'm gonna just take back in terms of, having to see things. I'm prepared to move forward. Thank you.
Yeah, Jill, I can forward the request that Tiffany originally sent with the pictures that she included in her request. I don't have access to it on this device right here.
So then that's
And
all.
also I wanted, if you can also send her the letter of support that we sent for that particular area. But it was on the avenue. If you would like
Yes,
to
Third
see that.
Avenue. That's also available. All our letters and resolutions are available on our website, but I can also make sure Tiffany has that as well. Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. And Rafael Escano from the Department of
Rafael
Transportation.
Escano. Let me make it easier for you. You can just put it in the mail, put it in a message, an email, describe it, send it to me, and I will channel it accordingly to different units. They could send an inspector, they could take a look at the signage, they could take a look at the construction, at the temporary construction sign that she talked about.
Yes.
And I will follow it up.
Okay.
It's nothing happened immediately, but I will promise you that I will, do it according to the way we do it in the department.
Beautiful. But because she's come to us for a letter of support, we would add that to the email if that so happens this evening.
Coming from you implies that you're supporting it.
However, we would want to have an official letter
Okay.
of support
If that is the case, you could just,
and to be voted on this evening, and it would be added to the email that would be sent to you.
yes, so it could be addressed that way as well.
Okay, thank you.
So based on that, is there another question?
Carlos and Tiffany have their hands raised.
Of course they do. Carlos, you have the floor, and then Tiffany. Tiffany? Hello, Carlos. You went silent. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, is there
You're
a
still
school in that block or daycare?
Is there a pardon?
Is there a
On
school?
126th Street and Park Avenue, is there a school there or a daycare?
Yes,
EC?
I believe there is.
Because they usually use that for some of the teachers to park their vehicles. And you did not make mention of that. Any particular reason why?
No,
The whole block
I
and-
don't understand the question.
My question is, there's a school there. They
Right.
use part of that for parking. At Park Avenue, 126th Street.
They use part of
Is that a public
Where,
school?
where
So
it
is
says
that-
no standing, they have teachers are parking there? I'm
Well,
sorry.
well, it doesn't go all the way, where the school is out or the daycare center there. If I remember correctly, there's a little section there where the teachers park. And they must have, and I don't know, maybe she could tell me if there's parking for them in that area there.
I'm not aware that they do.
Because if there's no parking and no standing for 12 hours,
But I don't think it goes all the way to the corners, what my question is, so I'm not sure. But there is a school there, and I know that they use the street for parking there.
hold on a second. Excuse me, hold on. The individual behind you,
Diana.
Diana, sorry.
Like, I don't know anything about parking rules or anything like that, but there's a school on 126 between Park and Lexington Avenue.
Right.
And they also have, yellow school buses. So I don't know if that could be a reason why they have that sign, because they do have, school buses.
However, if it's no parking or no standing, that means that they can't legally be there.
Yeah, but it stops at the school, my
Hold on a
understanding.
second. Thank you for the clarification, Pascal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, usually the schools will have their own signs from.
Exactly.
DOT. I'm looking at the street view right now, and the school at the corner doesn't have a sign. It's the same sign with no parking for this time and no standing for this time. So I don't think the school is a issue, a factor
Okay.
here.
Thank you, Carlos, for raising that. Thank you, Diane. Diane?
Yes, Diana.
Diana, I wanted to get your name right. And thank you, Pascal, for giving us that real-time observation. Tiffany had her hand up.
No longer.
Dawn?
John's hand is no longer up.
No. Dawn, did you want to?
I was gonna make a
maintain-
motion, but I thought there was someone else waiting.
There is no one else waiting. You have the floor, Dawn.
I would like to make a motion to support the request to, you know what? Can you put back up that other slide? Cause I was looking
One
at
second,
the-
sorry. Yeah, 1 second, sorry.
Thanks.
Can you see it, Dawn?
Yep. So I would like to, I'd like to make a motion to support the change of no parking and no standing to reflect that there is no construction at this time.
No, that's
No.
separate, Don.
That's separate.
Yeah,
Okay,
so.
are we doing just the 8:30?
Well, that's up to you guys to decide if you want to do 8 to 9:30 a.m. or 8:30 to 10 a.m. in terms of just being clear in the motion language. But yeah, it's to request a change in the current regulations on East 126th Street between Park and Second Avenue from the current regulations to alternate side parking regulations Monday or Thursday and Tuesday or Friday from the same time period.
I think that was perfect. Do you want me to restate that? That's the motion.
Yeah, just so it can be clear, and yeah, I have to put that on record. Thanks, Don.
Yes, Dawn, restate.
Okay, so I am proposing a motion that we write a letter of support to change the parking regulation from East 126th Street between Park Avenue and Second Avenue from no parking to 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday to alternate side parking regulations Monday/Thursday and Tuesday/Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Complete?
Yep.
Pascal?
Second.
Can we have a,
Do we have a point of clarification, I think, from Tiffany?
Tiffany has her hand raised. Do you want to acknowledge her while you're doing the motion?
Or, oh, we have to vote on the motion?
good idea since we are in the process of making the motion, Tiffany? Can you see me? Or-
Tiffany, do you have a question? You have your hand raised.
The motion doesn't address the issue totally.
So
What-
your request is to have alternate side parking at
So,
that segment? What-
The
what
part,
do
so
you-
this
what do
is
you-
what's missing. Her motion was great, except she missed it. She missed it says no parking. She missed the no standing as well. It's two parts. No parking and no standing. It's two
Okay,
parts.
no parking and no standing, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will take a friendly amendment. Don, will you accept a friendly amendment to change,
Absolutely.
to add no standing to the motion that you had just made?
Yes, please. I guess right after it says no parking from 10 to 7 and no standing from, is it 7 to 10, or I'm not sure what. Can we just say no park? Uh-huh.
It's no standing from 7 to 10 a.m., right, Tiffany? Was that what the
It's no-
regulations?
Yes, it's no standing Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. No parking from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So it's
yes,
two different things.
I would like to amend it just.
Thank you.
It's also in the chat, but I would like to amend it, no standing 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and no parking 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to restate that motion?
I have it here. Don Sanders made a motion to support a request to change the alternate side parking regulations from no standing from 7 to 10 a.m., no parking 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, to alternate side parking regulations Monday/Thursday and Tuesday/Friday to 8:30 to 10 a.m. And then I have the
Thank
motion
you.
being seconded by Pascal Hano.
So now can we take a vote?
Sure. Okay, so we have 7 with us right now. So we have 7 and 4 is needed for the motion to pass. Carlos Diaz?
I support the project. I support the motion.
Thank you,
Thank
Carlos.
you, Carlos.
Pascal Hano?
Yes.
Thank you. Wanda Hopkins?
Yes, I support.
Thank you. Thank you, Wanda. Jewel Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. Valerie Ponte?
Yes.
Thank you. Don Sanders?
Yes.
Thank you. And Michelle Wilshire Clement?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. And we will.
Thank you. I appreciate the committee's support. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll be in conversation with that second issue. I just did not want to blur our project for this evening. It didn't make any sense to blur the lines. I hope you understand.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I do.
Thank you. Okay, so now we will move forward with our neighborhood loading zone request, Third Avenue between East 122nd Street and 123rd Streets. You have the floor.
Thank you.
Please state your name prior to your presentation.
Peggy Morales. And this is Mr. Juan Azo.
Okay, would you like to come up?
Sure. Any particular place you prefer I stand?
Where you feel most comfortable, if you want to be there. Or...
Yeah, that's fine. So I want to preface this presentation by stating that I've been working on this and making this request dating back to 2023. So I'm hoping that at this point, with a letter of support, which is what I'm seeking from Community Board 11, that we're able to move this forward. So thank you for your time. Thank you for having me here. So let me cut right to the chase. The space there are 5 small businesses that operate within the confines of Taino Towers, which is basically a square block, one whole square block that runs from 2nd Avenue to 3rd, from 122nd to 123rd. Those 5 businesses all have deliveries at different times during the week, and it's becoming impossible to accommodate those deliveries. Why? Because the side of the street that the trailers need in order to unload and offload the merchandise is currently parking regulation from alternate side, Tuesday, Friday, from 8 to 9:30 a.m. And what we're asking is for the 4-car space that accommodates to be changed to a community loading zone. That is what we're asking at this point. And not only would it support the local businesses, it would accommodate the residential towers, which also get deliveries on a regular basis, as well as improve the traffic flow. If you're standing in front of Taino Towers facing east, on the left-hand side, you have the precinct, which parks diagonally. And that makes it very congested, not only for the DSNY pickups and all the other drop-offs that happen for the residential towers, but you also have 2 schools that are down the street that also drop off students, pick up students, all in that tiny little space. And it becomes very, very congested and very dangerous. In addition to that, you have Borinquen Health Center, which sits on the northeast side of the street, that is also creating its own congestion. On the opposite side, which is 122nd Street, what you have is a very narrow street that also has a parking garage beneath Taino Towers that has a constant flow of traffic in and out throughout the course of the day, and the street is very narrow. So parking trailers there is impossible. Parking the trailers in front of the precinct is unacceptable and clearly not possible. So the only option is to double park the trailers beyond the cars into the free lane of traffic that now takes away a lane of traffic so that it's now more congested. So that's what we're asking.
Okay, that is a lot. So, as you know, we need to hear things 1 month and then we come back to it. Take a look at the area, which I know quite well, and I think a lot of us do. If that is the end of your presentation, let us have a discussion on this now, if you'd like to sit down, but we will ask you questions.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yes, and I have the letters of support here from all 5 business owners, and as well as the gentleman who actually leases the spaces from Taino Towers, in addition to a letter from Taino Towers, which also supports that change.
Thank you. And can
Thank
you
you.
give those letters to Khalid?
Absolutely. Sure, that's fine.
I wish we had those letters earlier.
I'm afraid they didn't get them to us until the last minute.
Oh,
I'm sorry about that.
okay, no worries. And did you have any additions to? the
Yeah, because
presentation?
every time we try to make a delivery to all the commercial.
Can you say your name? Sorry.
Can you say your name again, sir?
My name is Juan Hazel. Juan Hazel.
Would you like me to spell it?
Yes.
F-O.
Wait, sorry, wait.
Did you sign our?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, well then I'll get it. Alright.
Okay.
So every time we try to, they deliver the stuff to the stores and the businesses, the car, they have to go through between the cars. And sometimes the cars are very tight. A hinge truck, we're not gonna go through. We have to go all around the block to come back and to get the delivery to the stores. And then even the residential of Taino Towers, when they get some TVs or we get big boxes, they cannot be able to go between the cars. We have to go around the block to come out. A long time ago, used to be a bus stop, and
we're working on that.
we used to be at a bus stop, and the bus stop used to help us to get all the delivery with no problem. But right now, they moved the bus stop up the block, and now we can't even get our delivery, and then some trucks, they don't wanna take a risk because they wanna get a ticket, they don't wanna get a hit, anything like that. And a third and a second lane to make deliveries. People get scared sometimes, drivers, they don't wanna do that, so they leave.
Thank you. Hold on a moment.
You do have Don and Jewel, they have to have their hand raised.
Okay, Jewel Jones and then Dawn. Jewel, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good to see you, Peggy. Thank you for your advocacy, as always. I have a loaded question for you. Since you said this has taken some time, what is the biggest challenge? What is the challenge? What's the major issue, roadblock, et cetera, that you're running into?
The biggest roadblock is the need for the merchandise to reach the stores that are servicing our area. It's 5 small businesses, and now what's happening is that many of the trailers and the trucks don't wanna have to bring anything to these businesses, which is then handicapping them and preventing them from getting the merchandise that they need. That's one of the biggest challenges, aside from the fact that it creates a huge traffic jam when these trailers pull up in front of Taino Towers next to parked cars that are in that lane that could be used, ideally for loading and unloading.
So just if I may, I get the concern. I'm just saying, like, it's taken you this long to have a resolution. So I'm just wondering what is in terms of a resolution. That's what I'm kind of getting at. I get the actual concern, but
why has it taken me so long to bring it to the community board, to the floor?
Yes.
I was working respectfully, and I'm certainly not trying to, throw anyone under the bus, but I had been working with MTA and Mr. Escano from DOT, and we had been emailing, and they asked me for additional information, pictures, which I submitted, additional addresses, which I submitted, specific names of the businesses, which I also submitted, but it never got any traction. So I was trying to work directly through the appointed representatives of the agency. Unfortunately, that didn't yield any results, so I had to bring it before the board.
Welcome.
Thank you, Peggy.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question.
Don and then Carlos.
Okay, Don, and is there somebody?
Sorry, sir.
Yes, yeah, I have a question. This is the same area where we had the problem with the parking for the.
Carlos, hold on a moment. Carlos? God bless you. Don is first before Carlos.
I'm sorry.
Okay, no, I'm gonna be looking forward to what Carlos has to say because of living at Taino. I had 2 questions. One was whether or not any of these businesses live in Taino, and 2, how many parking spaces are the people who live there giving up? And I asked that because I had a small business move in on First Avenue, and the guy I think he lived in Westchester, somewhere fancy, and he brought 2 cars. He brought a van that was for
And it's still there.
kind of advertising. He brought a van for advertising. He had his BMW, and then he would park the popcorn machine. So I guess the point is that although I'm always happy to have local businesses, I find that sometimes they expect parking and accommodations that are not equal to, are not fair always to the people who live there, right? After they go home and leave, their cars there in those spots. So anyway, I was just wondering if any of those folks live in the community. And second, how many parking spots we're looking to take from the people who live there.
I also want to add that anything would not be a 24-hour commercial space. It would be a limited time period.
That is correct.
Is that what you're proposing, or?
That's what we're requesting.
Okay,
Because I know
thank
there
you.
are 2 different types of loading zones. There's a commercial and then there's the community. So.
Okay. And you were gonna say?
No, nothing to say. That's where I'm here in Chastity, staying right now. And I hope we could get the parking space from 7 at least to 7, from 7 to 7.
7 a.m. to 7 p.m.?
Yeah.
Oh,
That'd be able to get that. And then maybe the weekends, maybe from it could be from 9 to 5.
Well,
I don't know that the community loading zones accommodate that
That's a very
chunk of time.
Goes up to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit long, and
May I
weekend.
respond to Dawn's
Go
question?
ahead.
Dawn, thank you for your question. Because it's only a community loading zone, and it would have very specific regulated hours, the people who live there would still be able to take advantage of the parking. Asa does not park his vehicle there. Where do you park your vehicle?
126 in a parking lot.
Yeah, he takes it to 126 to the parking lot where he parks and he pays, and then he comes back and he takes care of his businesses. So that's a valid question, and I also have the same concern. What are we giving up in exchange for accommodating these 5 small businesses that are all operating at the base of Taino Towers? And it would be about 4 parking spaces
Right.
from the corner to, 4.
Okay.
And they, do any of them live in the community? I was just curious. They don't have to, but I was just curious.
Sure, it's a good question. Asa, do any of the people who operate those 5 businesses live within the community that you know of?
The restaurant, yes.
The restaurant? Oh, yeah, the restaurant.
restaurant.
The restaurant, the people who are running the restaurant too.
They live in the community. And plus, all the delivery, they gotta go to Diana's house. Diana's house, when they bring in stuff, they can't even fit the cars.
Got it.
Okay, thank you. The bus stop is going to be moved, not to where it exactly was, but just a little bit closer to Taino Towers. With that, but that is, it's a bus stop, it's not a commercial or a loading area, it wasn't really supposed to be used as that.
If the bus stop goes back there, then you're only gonna have those 4 spaces that she's talking about. Is gonna be used by the commercial space. There's actually gonna be no parking for people in the neighborhood.
Okay, but the bus stop is not really going all the way back to where it was.
It's gonna be in front.
Where the bus stop is gonna go to, madam?
It's going about half a block away from where it is now.
In front of Goodwill.
In front of Goodwill?
More or less.
But it's going between 120
Second
and
and
121st, what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that's an
Okay.
improvement.
It's less steps to take, but it's not exactly where it was before.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
So it's gonna be by Vim's is what you're telling me. The store Vim's right on 120.
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
More or less, Carlos, yes, by VIN, more or less.
Oh, okay.
It's not gonna be on the block where Taino Towers begins.
Okay.
So I would like to find out, how do we feel about this? We're not voting on this at this particular moment.
I understand.
We're gonna continue, discussing this during our hiatus over the summer, and then come back and vote on this in September. Thank you for your presentation. We will, if you can send us the photos
Absolutely.
as well, and we will keep a hold of these so that everyone here can read that. Okay? And we will definitely come to a conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, and now, are we into old business now? Yes. To the follow-up for old business with the Department of Transportation, the 106th Street Bus Lane Priority Project with Pleasant Avenue Bike Lane Installation, 15 minutes. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you very much. I have 2 things before.
The person who is speaking right now.
Rafael Escano, road planner from the Borough Commissioner Office in Manhattan.
Department of
Transportation.
Transportation, okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to talk very briefly about, before going to the presentation, 117th Street and Pleasant, the pedestrian lane is completely blocked with shopping carts from the mall. I just visited before coming here, and I just thought that perhaps you would probably talk with someone at the mall to see if they can clear that up, because people are unable to walk in that pedestrian lane which we have take the time to put the planters and perhaps, your approach to making sure that people can really walk in that pedestrian lane. It's full of shopping carts, particularly as you approach the building.
Okay.
I wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
Now, we have come here before with this particular subject, and not to go any further in my presentation because you know the team already. Let me introduce you, Luke, and his supporting staffer over here, so he can start the presentation. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much. My name is Luke Zabados. I'm a project manager at the Bus Priority Unit at the Department of Transportation. I'll kick it over to Phil.
Philip Bethel, Deputy Director for Bus Priority at the New York City Department of Transportation.
Hello everyone, my name is Jean Cho from MTA New York City Transit, and I'm a bus service planner.
And we want to thank you for hearing our updated presentation today about the 116th Street Bus and Pedestrian Priority Project. We're going to go over the treatments. You can see here the buses on 116th Street and Pleasant Avenue are very well used, and they deserve to be faster, more reliable. So we'll go over these tables of contents throughout the slides, but generally we're talking about the updates and talking about how that impacts the rest of the presentation. So you can keep on going. We're going to kind of go a little bit fast because you've heard this before, but here's our study area, 116th Street from 5th Avenue to the FDR, Pleasant Avenue, from 120th Street to 116th Street. This area is very significant for bus riders and pedestrians. It sees 36,000, only in CB11, 36,000 daily bus riders across these 7 CB11 routes, M110, 116, M6, BX M6, 7, 8, 9, and 11. And you can keep on going. The takeaway here is that from our analysis, we found that people who live within a quarter mile of this project area, 83% or 5 out of every 6 households do not own a car. And as such, we have 85% of people living within this quarter mile of the project area who rely on transit, trains, buses, walking, or biking to get around. This is above the citywide average. So it shows that these types of transit improvements and investments are really needed and going to make a lot of impact. Good. This area is dangerous. It is a Vision Zero priority corridor, 116th Street. Only in CB11, we've seen in the last 5 years, 317 people injured in crashes along this corridor. 116th Street and Pleasant Avenue combined rank, as a singular entity, rank within the 10% most dangerous corridors in Manhattan. So the stuff we'll see tonight are primarily going to be safety improvements, in addition to bus priority and public transit investments. And then I'll turn it over to Jamie.
Thank you. So overall bus speeds are slowed around 116th Street in the study area. During weekdays, most sections have speeds of less than 6 miles per hour, and then less than 4 miles per hour in some other segments. And so the map here shows the stop-to-stop bus speeds for the M116 during weekdays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we see that on 116th Street between 5th Avenue and 1st Avenue, that's where there is the most congestion and double parking, and it's where it's the most slow. And so this weekday congestion causes 785 hours of delay to M116 passengers daily. And this is just for M116. There are also other local routes that run on the corridor, such as the M7 and M102, as well as some VXM express routes. And so if we go on to the next slide, more than 65,000 Weekday riders use the 10 bus routes that travels on and serves the study area with about 12,800 people per day just getting on the buses on the corridor for the 3 local routes that run in the area on 116th Street. As shown on this bus stop usage map, ons and off for the buses are the highest near the subway stations, such as the B and C at Frederick Douglass Boulevard, the 2 and 3 at Malcolm X Boulevard, and then the 6 at Lexington Avenue. There is also high ridership at the transfer locations for north to south bus routes, such as the M15, the M102, and etc. And if we go on to the next slide, the on-bus ridership map here illustrates the high ridership traveling across the study area with approximately 24,500 people traveling on the bus on 116th Street, where a majority, about 80%, are using the local bus routes. And all of these people could benefit from having bus priority in the corridor, and the existing traffic conditions makes it more difficult for us to deliver the reliable and faster speeds that we want to deliver for our customers as they, use these bus routes to go to and from the neighborhood and beyond, to go shopping, to go to work, and also to school. Back to you, Luke.
Let me know if you guys can see right here. I'm blocking right now. So basically, after our meeting last month, we've done a lot more outreach, and we'll go over that today. So at our last meeting, we heard some high-level points here, improvements to the intersection of 120th Street and Pleasant Avenue. We will be incorporating hardened pedestrian treatments to slow turning cars and speeding cars. We have a slide just dedicated to that intersection, and we'll talk about those improvements. Traffic congestion, we're going to be talking about and providing updates to the board about our continuing traffic analysis to determine the potential effects of lane reduction, parking and local business access. We are working very closely with our parking unit to develop a comprehensive parking plan. We will provide updates to the board as soon as we can. One aspect of our parking plan includes truck loading zones in front of grocery stores. So we will give you updates as soon as we can. Also, from last meeting, we heard that bike corrals are needed to alleviate bike parking and pedestrian movements on the sidewalk. So we have added some within our proposal. Loading needs, we're continuing to work with our parking unit about truck and neighborhood loading zones and short-term parking where appropriate, and pedestrian cyclist safety, adding pedestrian spaces to make sure that it's easy to shop and walk along the corridor, and adding safety improvements to our bike lanes to minimize conflict with other modes. So here's just a sampling of some of the bus riders that are really looking forward to improvements on 116th Street. They ride the M116 bus, and they have a lot of asks. They want it to be faster. We were at the La Marqueta block party last month. You can see Rafael speaking. We spoke in Spanish and English to really communicate the plan. You can see we've had a lot of materials here collecting feedback. We also posted about this meeting on every single bus stop pole throughout the corridor, not only in CB11, but CB9 and 10. So some of the things that people want are, they want faster service. And that's what we're hoping to deliver here today, or this year. We've also done a pedestrian intercept survey. Our street ambassador team went out on the corridor at 2 intersections, Lexington Avenue and at First Avenue on May 7th. We weren't able to provide the report back in time for the last meeting, but here are some quotes. A lot of people are, these are pedestrians that we've encountered on the street and talked to them with a series of questions to understand their needs and how they use the corridor. People tell us that they want improvements for pedestrians. A lot of people tell us that they don't drive and that they want the safety improvements. they complain that the streets are congested, that the bus is hardly moving. People do say that parking is already hard here, but they welcome pedestrian improvements. That the buses are too crowded, that people don't drive, that for us to look at 116th Street and Pleasant Avenue specifically, where cars are trying to get onto the highway. And acknowledging that the buses are packed. So when we go out to the community, we talk to people, and a lot of people tell us that they want improvements, they want faster bus speeds. These are photos taken from our street ambassadors too. You can keep on going. So the updated design, we'll show you on the next slide. This is similar to what we showed you before. We're going to break this down basic, and I'll just elaborate on the next slide. So what's new? Well, we've done a preliminary traffic analysis, and we found that our left turn bays don't accommodate the volume and current demand of drivers who want to make left turns. So we've worked with our engineers and extended the length of those left turn lanes to keep traffic moving. We've extended the length at those 6 intersections. We're also proposing today a curbside bus lane. So on the north side of 116th Street between 5th and Madison, these 2 left turn lanes are so large based on our traffic model that we really need to take the bus lane to the curbside space. And this works on the north side because there are 2 bus stops that take up most of the parking. And we find that in order to make this traffic easier on this block, we would have to eliminate, for daytime purposes only, 6 parking spaces. After which it would turn to alternate side parking or whatever the current parking regulations are. And we can show you in a little bit more detail what this means, but basically this allows for the bus to not have to navigate and weave around the parked cars and go back to the curb to get to the next stop. It allows bus riders and our drivers to go straight through from one stop to the next, and improves accessibility for those of us who need the bus to be right next to the curb. We're proposing more hardened daylighting. So at the intersections of 116th and Pleasant and 117th Street, and we're adding pedestrian curb extensions for potential bike parking in response to the requests from the community last month at these 5 intersections, and really to just overemphasize that we're adding safety improvements. These are things that are going to manage traffic better. They're going to protect pedestrians and deliver faster bus speeds to the tens of thousands of people using the corridor on a bus. So nothing has changed here. We're still proposing 4 concrete curb extensions at 5th, Madison, 3rd, and 1st. These are going to have physical protection for pedestrians in a refuge space with bollards and a potential tree. Calms intersections by slowing down left turn cars. 7 proposed left turns. This is that intersection I'm talking about between 5th Avenue and Madison, where the 2 left turn lanes in opposite directions kind of converge, forcing the bus to be alongside the curb. But here's a kind of a sample rendering of what the street would look like. You can see that we've got a pedestrian curb extension here. We've got a tree with on the pedestrian island and these left turn lanes. We're good. Go to the next. Proposed offset bus lane. This is a bus lane that retains the parking access on the curb, while also adding pedestrian safety enhancements with potential bike parking. You'll notice that this block on the north side has removed the offset bus lane for a curbside lane. These types of treatments, like on Lexington Avenue, can increase bus speeds by about 20%, and injuries reduced by about 1/4. Good. Curbside bus lane, as I mentioned, it allows for just this one lane, allows for the bus to go straight. We really had a trade-off between removing parking on the north side or on the south side, and we looked at this very closely. We saw that On the north side, the one residential building there has an off-street parking lot, whereas on the south side of the street, there are a lot of small, maybe 4 or 5 story buildings with commercial uses on the ground floor, residential buildings. They didn't have an off-street parking lot. So we made the decision to propose the north curb because the impact would be less to the community. We're still proposing Q-jump signals at 2 locations, Lex and Madison. These speed up the bus by 7 seconds every signal cycle. And the parking protected bike lane on Pleasant Avenue. Pleasant Avenue really doesn't have the volume of traffic that justifies a 60-foot travel lane. This, or 60-foot roadway. 60 feet is the same as 116th Street, which serves way many people. So we're really viewing these these bike lanes and pedestrian islands as a way to calm traffic, to slow down the tenor, well, to really match the tenor with the existing usage. You can see that our treatments can improve visibility by requiring drivers to make a more 90-degree turn instead of just a sloping turn. And that is how it improves safety. So on Pleasant Avenue, we've been looking at this corridor for a long time. Originally, we were thinking of proposing, since it's on the M116 route, we were thinking of doing bus lanes. But after a lot of observations, we found that the width of the street really would benefit from a safety treatment to give cyclists their own space. So right now there's just a lot of space, and that allows for different things to happen. People can drive through, not really cordoned into a specific space. So we're adding more predictability, pedestrian safety treatments to the corridor for people who use it currently. So talk about protected bike lane safety. These are the safest toolkit item we have. We've studied this extensively and issued this report in 2022 about pedestrian safety in older New Yorkers. And basically for senior pedestrians, protected bike lanes reduce the chance of fatalities and serious injuries by 39%. So the reason we propose this is because they're the best safety treatment that we have, and we're really excited to bring that to Pleasant Avenue. And we know how much CB11 loves our daylighting spaces and our pedestrian spaces. We've been going around the community and getting signups for potential planter maintenance partners. So at a few locations, we hope to add these planters, and we'll continue that outreach, get more signups along the corridor. These are great because it gives pedestrians a shorter crossing distance. So no longer do they have to wait here on the curb before they cross. They can wait a little bit closer and have a shorter crossing distance. It also gives us the opportunity to add bike parking, which from the business community we've heard is necessary for small deliveries. And what's great about these is it actually alleviates space on the sidewalk. So whenever we install a bike corral, we take any bike rack on the sidewalk and remove it. So that way there's more sidewalk space, which is a very crucial demand on 116th Street, as you know. And here's the intersection specifically. You can see, even though this is a channelized space, there's no physical safety improvements. This is 120th Street and Pleasant Avenue. And what we're proposing is a few curb extensions. So this shortens the crossing distance. So instead of having to cross this entire distance, pedestrians only have to cross this amount. We're also partnering with the New York City DOT art program to add asphalt art similar to this. These types of treatments slow turning cars as physical protection for pedestrian and beautification. So after analyzing this intersection, we found that our improvements would reduced the crossing distance by 67%, which is a lot from here to here. It will reduce 45% on this crosswalk and 60% on this crosswalk. We're still studying a speed hump request that we made on East 120th Street between First and Pleasant Ave. We're continuing to study the traffic signal request at this intersection as well. So, estimated parking changes. From our last round of outreach, not too much has changed. We have the that curbside lane that would, during the daytime when traffic, drivers, and bus riders need it most, it would add capacity to the roadway in exchange for 6 daytime parking spots, which would revert to overnight parking. We're adding parking at proposed former bus stops at Park Avenue and at 117th Street, where there's a lot of concentrated bus stops and a low ridership. Some of these left turn lanes have expanded a tiny bit. We heard a request for Wendy's, bike corral outside of Wendy's. We added that right here at 3rd Avenue Southeast corner. And then also we're adding a tiny bit of daylighting space at 117th and 118th Street to allow for turning car movements. But where we can, we've hardened it with quick curb as is our typical geometric option. We've also heard from drivers in the neighborhood who say that after hearing about the left turn lanes and the traffic calming effects, that they want a bus lane too. So not only do bus riders want bus lanes, we hear from drivers that too. So we're going to go over a vision and summary. So this is what Madison Avenue and 116th Street looks like now. There's not a lot of organization to the roadway. Crossing distances are long with no refuge, and bus stops aren't really enforced in a way that they could be to provide better accessibility. And here we see, this is a rendering of proposed treatments. We see refuge space in the intersection. We see more trees. We see bollards. We see a bus lane here, which provides an emergency relief valve for traffic, for ambulances, for fire trucks, for the tens of thousands of bus riders who rely on this corridor. And it allows for left turn movements as well. So this is kind of a sampling of what, you can also see, this is kind of how the bike corrals would look like. Okay, we're good. And in summary, we are talking about 1.1 miles of bus lanes on 116th Street in this part of the East Harlem. We're talking about 14,400 square feet of painted pedestrian space that's daylighting at 11 intersections. We're talking about a asphalt part at 120th Street and Pleasant Avenue. These pedestrian spaces are hardened with granite blocks or planters if there's a maintenance partner. 1,100 square feet of concrete pedestrian space hardened with bollards and beautified by trees. 7 new tree pits. We heard from the Parks Department today, confirming some of our numbers. We're adding 10 new parking spaces, 0.4 miles of parking protected bike lanes, 2 bus queue jump signals, 7 left turn bays. And all in all, we're really excited to give you the stat which the MTA provided. Typically, we see a 10 to 20% increase in bus speeds for this type of treatment, offset bus lanes. And that means 1 to 2 minutes of travel time saved per passenger per trip, which sounds like not a lot, but it's a lot. And it's especially meaningful during rush hour. So an average of 2 minutes per passenger per trip, that's just the average. When the rush hour's there and we need it most, a lot of those minutes saved are even more. It combines to up to 400 hours of passenger minutes saved each weekday on the M116 alone. So when we talk to bus riders, we hear that multi-generation of we're thinking about the next generation of bus riders too. So in terms of timeline, we've been meeting with all the community boards throughout the project area, and we hope to implement this summer pending engineering review. So thank you so much, and we're here for your questions.
Thank you. Just a second. What we do in community board, the members speak first. Pascal, did you have anything?
Yeah, I've got a few questions. Thank you again for coming and presenting. Thank you for the updates. Trying to remember as many of the questions I had last time. One of them was the small business outreach. I understand you went to La Marqueta. I asked if you had a plan in place. Is there any other outreach you did to small businesses besides that?
Yes, we did. We went door knocking along the corridor, spoke with small businesses. We took photos of small businesses with the thumbs up, but because they didn't sign a release, we weren't able to include them tonight. But most people that we talked to stated positively about the proposed improvements. We found that a lot of people working at the small businesses live in the area and rely on the bus or walking or biking to get there.
Okay. And then I understand that you're adding 10 spaces, but do you have a number that you could provide to us right now for how many spaces are being removed? I know you had it on the diagram, but just a quick number.
Yeah, we don't have a finalized number quite yet, and I can get that to you. But if you want to pull back up the slide, you can see the impact.
Yeah, it just seems like a bit too much to calculate right now.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, and some of this, might shift over a little bit, and some of the parking spaces are different. So, a daylighting parking space between the stop bar and the crosswalk, it's not really the best use of a parking space because it requires people to stick their head out into traffic. So, not sure how to count that one, but we can get back to you on that.
Yes, please. And then, in talking about parking again, the East 120th and Pleasant Avenue, that redesign right there, that's a pretty large space. How much parking do you anticipate that to take? It looked good from the rendering.
So, here, can you scroll up, I believe? Just one. Okay, so right here, this is kind of the footprint of the proposed mural.
Okay.
And this, you're not allowed to park in.
Right.
And then we would essentially kind of like eliminate this median, push the travel lanes towards the center of the street. So it would kind of, for drivers, it would be like a 22-foot street instead of the 60-foot street it is now. And then you would create a new pedestrian island here, but it wouldn't remove really too many parking spaces because I believe it only is about 5 feet behind the stop bar. So it's really primarily for the purpose of safety and making sure that there's better visibility.
Okay.
If I may add, Andrew, Philip Bethel, good evening. Yeah, the majority of the work here I use would be, we have this channelized space with the little diagonal lines you see, which was put in a decade ago maybe, if not longer. Sort of like the old toolkit, and the new toolkit would be making that space much more pedestrian friendly. That's really not the impact.
Thank you. And then a concern I had at the last presentation you gave was the times for the bus lane. Are you still looking at 24 hours? That was something that I felt strongly against. I didn't think that really made sense having that overnight. Is that still the projected design?
Yes, and that's because, so the only part of the bus lanes that would be time limited would be that curbside bus lane on the north side between 5th and Madison. But yes, because there's a lot of people who use the bus that don't operate normal times, and because traffic volumes are less in the overnight hours, we want to maintain those traffic calming elements to improve safety. So we're still proposing them to be 24 hours.
Okay. don't necessarily agree with that. I hope that we could discuss that in this committee, because your study itself was only from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Is there any reason why you didn't do an overnight study as well?
Which study are you?
You looked at the traffic. I think it was like maybe the third slide, but you talked about the traffic along the corridor.
Oh.
And at the top, it just mentioned that the study was done from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Oh, do you mean the stop bus speeds map?
Yeah. So I figured if you wanted to do it 24 hours, you should do a comprehensive study to just look at it, the bus times throughout the whole day.
So we did look at the stop speeds during AM peak, midday and PM peak, and those bus speed maps are in the appendix.
Yeah, we can pull those
But
up.
they do show slow speeds as well.
Okay, overnight as well, because most bus lanes, they kind of stop around like 7. I think the latest I've ever seen is 10. So just personally, as a driver as well, I'm out late sometimes and there's really no traffic and the bus lane is empty. And that kind of causes congestion. Then you see people trying to speed up and pass each other, and that's an issue as well.
Thank you for your feedback. We did not look at the bus speeds overnight, but yeah, your comment is noted, and that could be something that we look into.
And then just long-term thinking, while you were looking at the traffic patterns and the congestion, did you take into consideration the 2nd Avenue subway? I know that's like, a while down the road, yeah. But I believe that would also alleviate some of this stress on that bus. So I'm just want to know, did you take that into consideration?
Yeah, so we're planning around the upcoming capital improvements to that intersection. They will be building a station there, as you know. But we're modeling with the current volumes. So I don't think we've projected out how we're gonna have to get back to you on that one.
Okay.
But yes, we are accommodating, and this will fit nicely. As you know, there isn't a crosstown Upper Manhattan train line, so these crosstown services are really crucial for people trying to navigate the city.
Definitely. Thank you. That's my question.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dawn, please make it succinct.
Sorry, Chair?
Go ahead, Dawn.
Okay, so I'm a little disappointed because I feel like I'm gonna have to take a closer look at this because I don't see that some of the concerns we raised last month were addressed. And shout out to Pascal for keeping the receipts from last week and bringing those points up again. I just want to point out that, we feel pretty strongly that we represent our community. So when we bring these concerns to you, we're speaking on behalf of the community. And I just want you to understand that the sidewalk surveys are not the same as us doing the due diligence and knowing what our neighbors want. So for example, and this is a good point, this is a good reason, I'm sure if you bring this back next year or whenever I'm gone, you'll be just fine. But I recognized 4 people in that presentation, and I texted each of them and I asked them, what did they agree to? What did they say that they were in support of? Pilar said she's going to try to join this meeting. I told her, I don't know if you need to join this meeting, but Pilar has been outspoken about the parking concerns at Franklin Plaza related to the 2nd Avenue subway. So this is something that we've been thinking about and talking about over the last 15 years. This is not something new. I also wrote to another person who was there. She said her daughter was getting her face painted, and she said she was in support of adding planters and safer sidewalks, but she's not in support of bike lanes and bus lanes. So this is someone and I can put you back in touch with some of these people. I don't know what they were told before they told you that they were in support, but I stand by what we said last month, which is that we are not, I am still not in support of this project. I don't think that it reflects, that's not, I don't know any of those folks, I'm sorry, but I do know 4 people who are on some of the other slides. I don't feel like we have addressed the community issues. I feel like not having, those are the folks I know. So those are some of the folks I know. I feel like not, you know, I'm sorry, not having the total number of parking spots lost is a red flag for me, because in every project, we've been quoted a low number, like, so even the First and Second Avenue bus lanes, there was 50% of the parking disappeared. It was supposed to be like 20%. With our get around Zipcar pilot, we were supposed to lose like 10 spots. We lost about 30 or so, and they became permanent. So that's a red flag for me. And then also there's a red flag is that you're saying that people support this, but I'm already seeing people in the presentation, and I'm writing to them, and they're saying they don't support this. So I just want to point that out. Thanks.
Thank you. Is Carlos asking a question?
No, not Carlos. These are attendees that had their hand raised.
Okay, I'm gonna take some of the people in the room first. Go ahead. Say your name first.
Marina Ortiz, East Harlem Preservation. I don't know that I saw in the presentation proposed longer buses. 116th Street bus is a very short bus. And when we come out of the mall, all of us viejitas with the little shopping carts and all that, it's a nightmare to get on that bus. And it's got a very limited run. I know that it doesn't run at night as much, so that's, maybe you could switch it up. But we need longer buses.
Thank you. And I just want to add, this was proposed, and this was said last month, longer buses. Months and months, it has been said about the time portions of the bus stops. I just wanted to give another individual, were you finished?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm just considering the fact that we are a pretty much aging in place community, and the fact that that's what this community is. I'm always concerned about the amount of bus shelters that are absent from the different bus stops, despite the amount of space that I know is required to have a bus shelter, or even the leaning bars, or perhaps seats. We have a lot of elderly people. My mother's among them. She just celebrated her 90th birthday, and it would be great, thank you. It would be great if she were able to take shelter in one of the bus stops when it's snowing, when it's raining. It's very, very difficult. And the waits don't help the situation, of course.
Thank you. Did you say your name ahead of time?
Peggy Morales.
Okay, I just want to make sure that.
Sure.
Yes, my name is Diana. I was here at that meeting, and one of the requests was also of the bus, like you mentioned, you did like a survey this whole month. Did you ever consider changing the bus so it could be a lot faster?
Am I allowed to respond? Would you like me to respond?
I just want to get a few people.
Oh, okay,
so they
that's
can
one,
get the
and
questions.
My other thing is the light, 120 and Pleasant Avenue. Like, it will look really nice if you do the decoration, put the planters and put the, but there's an elementary school across from there. There's a park, and a lot of kids are walking in that area, and I don't think just decorating it will make it safer for them. The traffic light will be the most important thing to be installed than the decoration. The other thing that you mentioned, and I don't want to feel like not believing what you say, but it's just that I work with small businesses on 160th Street. Most of them are Spanish speakers, and probably if you walk by and mention to them that, oh, there's going to be a redesign on 160th Street so it could look better, probably they agree to that, but I don't think they actually agree on having a bus lane. So I really think would like to, because I also visited other businesses and they didn't agree with the bus lane, so that's why I'm confused. that you mentioned that most of them agree on having the bus lane. And I don't think they agree on having a bus lane, but I do think they agree on having a better bus stop with a better design.
Thank you.
Chancellor Gray, community board member. Just a couple things I was wondering. So from the 3rd Avenue to Park, right? I saw you did a rendering from Phil to Madison. Is there a reason why you didn't do a rendering from Park to 3rd Avenue? That's where, on 116, that's where a lot of local riders hop on due to the bus stop, it's number 6. And how many parking spaces are being taken away from there, especially between 3rd and Lexington. And then also, what Pascal said, why wasn't a study done during rush hour? You really harped on that 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'm a bus rider, rush hour. Just why wasn't that like the big focal point instead of those day hours from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.?
Okay, I just wanted to get one other person, there was one other person in green.
It was more of a comment than a question.
Is this the same with what's going on here now?
Maybe get another question and then maybe.
Okay. Online?
Yes, we have some attendees. We have 3 people with their hand raised.
Okay, go ahead with the first person with their hand.
Okay, we have, I want to mess this up. Eleftherios?
Yes, actually very well. Thank you. A couple of comments. I don't understand. They said that they went to the local businesses. I run a funeral home there. My next door neighbor, which is also a funeral home, and another funeral home up the block, where I called them to see if anybody came in to ask us about the bus lane, and nobody did. That's going to cause a serious problem for the families that we serve. One, that bus lane we use to load and unload deceased, and to load deceased to go to church, or load them to go to the crematory, or offload them to bring them into our funeral homes, because these are all older funeral homes that we use the front door from. What's going to happen with that bus lane that's running right there in front of us? And I feel it's just a ploy, to give us tickets, because we're not allowed to have specialty plates in New York City for a hearse or a transport vehicle for a funeral home. What about those concerns?
Thank you. The next person?
We have a Caleb Goss.
Go ahead, Caleb, you have the floor. Caleb, unmute yourself. We'll swing back to Caleb. Go ahead.
Caleb, you're unmuted, but are you speaking? It might have audio issues.
We'll circle back to you.
Yeah, we'll circle back, Caleb. If anything, try to log out, log back in. You might get your mic synced then. We have Pilar next.
Pilar, go ahead.
Hola, good evening, everyone. Sorry I'm late. There's just multiple meetings happening everywhere today. But I don't know, so I don't know what was said on my behalf, and I just wanted to be able to speak to say where I feel, what I know when I came across the table a few weeks ago, when I was asked about this. One, I stressed my big concerns with the DOT right now around a lot of different things that are happening in the community, whether it's around a lot of the sidewalks where it comes to handicaps, or comes with certain parking signs not being up. But anyway, when it came to the 116 bus, my thoughts when I was asked about this, one of my first comments was that and I don't know how many community board members remember this, but there was a point where we had shuttle buses from the mall to the train station. And I don't know, I guess it was only for a short time, it was the agreement, but I do think, like what I shared with DOT, there should be like a shuttle bus from the mall to the train stations, east to west, because that's also what creates a lot of traffic on our 116th Street bus. And, stores like IKEA in Brooklyn, Red Hook, they have not only a ferry but also a shuttle bus that takes the shoppers from the Borough Hall stop to IKEA, and it's not close, honestly. It's a pretty, if you ever taken it, it's like it's a pretty it's a ride. And so I suggested that. And then I also, like, I do know, I understand that DOT is probably anticipating that the Second Avenue subway, will be coming down the pipeline, and there's going to be an additional stop between, Pleasant Avenue and the west side. And so I could understand why they think, changing the lanes. So I don't recall anything about discussing the lanes. I did say that the 116 bus is too short, especially given with shoppers, and then the high school that's on Pleasant Avenue, and then you got your regular residents going to work, trying to, if they have to catch the West Side train, it's a very crowded bus. Now, do I think adding bike lanes, like oh God, like sometimes it makes me a little frustrated with these bike lanes because half of the bikers don't even follow the rules of the bike lane, and it's really challenging as a driver in the city. But I don't want any misrepresentation of what I shared with the DOT. I do think, like, we have a lot of buses right now, especially Third Avenue. And let's try to figure out, again, I think I want to really highlight, we need to push Costco. I know if Target was still here, we should have had a shuttle bus, but the corporations in that mall need to somehow get some sort of bus for the shoppers, because it's also, to me, I don't know how come IKEA and they don't charge their shoppers to go shop. And again, I think it also is beneficial for our community. People are coming to our community. And so I'll stop, but
Pilar, do you have a question?
a question? My question.
I'm so sorry. This is Dawn. I reached out to Pilar because her picture was in the presentation, and I just wanted to be clear what she said to the DOT. My bad.
Okay, well, Pilar, I am going to take the suggestion that you interwove in your conversation of having longer buses would be a good thing. Would that be a good representation of what you just said?
Yeah, longer buses and a shuttle bus, if going from the mall to at least the train stops.
Okay, so we will add those two requests, Luke. Thank you. And
Caleb, do you want to try speaking again?
All right, can you hear me now?
yes.
Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you very much. My name's Caleb Doss. I take the 116 most weeks, every other day, mostly. I have a daughter in school in the neighborhood, and I would like more frequent buses, and I'm fully supportive of all the recommendations that have been raised during the meeting. Longer buses, especially given the community being a lot of folks are aging in place, including some of my family. I would be super happy if there were more bus shelters. And the safety improvements along Pleasant, great. That is an intersection my daughter and I use reasonably often, and I'm grateful you guys are doing that.
Thank you, Caleb. All right.
Yeah, Chancellor Greg again here. Just two more questions. Just from listening to everyone, do you guys have a list of the businesses that you spoke with? Because it seems like people felt like they weren't reached out to, and why those particular businesses. And then the timeline you had on here didn't reflect how long the process would take if it is implemented.
Thank you. And the individual in green, I don't know your name.
Hi, my name is Alexis Speakus. I'm with Families for Safe Streets, and just want to talk about the fact that this is a Vision Zero priority corridor. And I would like to introduce Darnell Sealy McCrory, who is a member of Families for Safe Streets. Who's going to share a little bit about pedestrian safety.
So, good evening. First of all, thanks for everybody for coming out. I know it's been pretty long with the tedious questioning. Basically, I'm here today I'm a father. My name is Darnell City McCrory. I'm the father of Niall McCrory. My 13-year-old daughter was actually struck by a vehicle within the CB9 and the CB10 intersection, and she was killed this past fall, November 1st. This is her hair on my sweater. I became a public advocate for safety, and I'm here today because I joined in on Zoom for the last meeting for the CB10, and I came here in person to just share my story because I feel like I know we're here for CB11, but the intersection of Manhattan Avenue and 110th Street there needs to be a solution there. And that's the intersection that my daughter was killed at when she was walking for the M110 bus. She never made it across the double line because of a super speedy driver, which we call a reckless driver. So I just want to bring that to your attention. And the buses, so outside of that, there is real mental and emotional distress here. That I am someone, present. I'm a little bit all over the place right now, but I do hope to see a lot of different infrastructure in these streets within these districts because it's not safe over there at all, in my opinion. So if I believe it's an all-way traffic area. I've spoken to the city council, I've spoken to Yusuf Salam, I've spoken to Senators Cordell, St. Clair, so that everyone's aware of this case and this issue and this fatality. And I'm currently submitting an application for the street code. So that's all. I just want to share that story with you guys. She was 13 years of age, a loving child, and just like any other child, she just gone too soon from traffic violence.
I'm sorry to hear your loss.
Thank you for your acknowledgement.
Thank you for sharing. Diane?
Yes, I have one more comment, for the bike lane on Pleasant Avenue. I don't think that's, well, not only me, businesses on Pleasant Avenue, they mentioned, even, I spoke to people from church on Pleasant Avenue on Mount Carmel, and they don't agree on having a bike lane on Pleasant Avenue because it will be unsafe for everyone who walks in that area. Bicycles are speeding on bike lanes, and that will be a very unsafe for everyone who uses that area. There's around 4 public schools from 120 to 114. Well, public school buildings. Within a school, within a building, there's more than one school. So buildings, there's probably around 4 buildings of schools. So there will be a lot of kids walking on their own who are not paying attention to the bikes. So I think that will be very unsafe for them. And for anyone who's going to the mall also, I don't think that's something the community really needs.
Thank you, Diane. And I'm forgetting your first name. I just remember the last name, Chow. What was your first name again?
It's Jamie.
Jamie Chow, go ahead.
And I'm from MTA, and in regards to converting a standard into an articulated route, we really have to look at the ridership and then also the number of buses. And I have looked at the preliminary indicators, and it doesn't appear that right now it calls for that type of conversion. But this is something that I could continue to monitor. But at the moment, there are no plans to convert to the M116 to an articulated based on the data that we have now that we're seeing based on ridership and the number of buses. And, I think that a dedicated bus lane would really help the buses in the corridor stick and adhere to schedule because of congestion and the traffic, the double parking. It really makes it difficult to schedule around that because it's so unpredictable. And so if there is a bus lane, then the buses can go faster and maybe better adhere to schedule. And then there would be less bunching, which would mean that some buses wouldn't be as overcrowded, and because the riders would be more well distributed among the buses that hit each stop along the corridor.
Yeah, but Kevin Perez will have his comments.
Okay, I just wanted to add that, increasing the amount of times that the bus goes into the area would only be a better thing, instead of always having to, go with adding a bus lane, adding more buses to the amount of people that need to go onto the bus would also be a good tool to add to that project. Diane, can you hold on a second, please? I want to give Luke a chance, and then who is?
Kevin Perez, an attendee.
Okay, and then Kevin. Go ahead, Luke.
Thank you so much. So bus shelters, that's part of our toolkit. Some folks mentioned it today, and we're looking forward to, we submit a bus shelter request and a street furniture request to our internal units. If this project gets proposed or approved for implementation, so we'd be able to add potentially bus shelters. We find that most of the stops along the 116th Street corridor do have shelters currently, but you're absolutely right that there are some that don't and could benefit from leaning bars, shelters, and benches. So we will look into that, and hopefully with the implementation of the project, we would add those as well. There was a question about decorating the intersection. So we're not just talking about decoration for the intersection of 120th Street. We're talking about physical, hardened infrastructure that are going to slow down turning cars, which is one of the primary ways that crashes happen, because cars have this element of near the windshield which blocks their vision, and when they're making a left turn and that portion of their vision is blocked, they aren't exactly seeing where they're going. So by slowing down those turns, reducing the movement and available space they have at an intersection, we're not just painting or decorating, it's going to be physically improved. And we also, as I mentioned in the presentation, we are continuing to study the request for a traffic signal. So that's not off the table. We're going to get back to you on that. Surveys. So we haven't been able to survey every business, as many have rightly pointed out. Some businesses were not open at the time we visited. Some we've knocked on the door, they didn't answer, but we will continue to do outreach to reach everybody we can. There was a question about why we didn't render near Park Avenue, and that's because there's a capital improvement with this viaduct improvement. So we are still finalizing with the Metro North how exactly safety benefits, safety improvements would look like. And we felt that the intersection of Madison and because we're able to do a concrete island with the bollard and the tree, it reflected accurately one of the best improved intersections of the corridor. And because it's kind of close to CD10, it reflects kind of a middle portion of the area. The hours of traffic, we did do bus hours. Really want to shout out Jamie for all of the great work she did putting together. We presented these three, the AM, the midday, and the PM at the first meeting that we presented, but for the benefit of everybody's time, we didn't include all of these renderings, but Jamie put these together, and they really tell the visual story of the slow bus speeds that people are experiencing. The frequency and as Jamie mentioned, the length of the bus, the articulated bus, those are in the MTA's domain. So within this project, which is being led by the Department of Transportation, we don't have the ability to necessarily directly change the frequency or the length of the bus. And I just wanted to mention, Darnell testified today about safety improvements. This project spans not only CB11, but CB10 and CB9. And if it's able to go through, we would be adding 2 concrete pedestrian islands to that intersection. We've spoken with Mount Carmel and the representative there, but there's definitely still more conversations to be had.
Okay, Pascal? Wait, I'm sorry, there was another person, are they public or are they?
Attendee, yeah.
An attendee, Pascal?
I had a question, I don't quite remember, kind of for you, I feel like we asked for a block by block design of this.
We asked for a block by block design for everything.
Okay, specifically for Third Avenue, but if you look at the resolution that we sent last month, it does not ask for that. It says that it is in support of the other, the remaining safety improvement toolkit in the toolkit, except for the bus lane and the bike lane stage. That's what the letter explicitly states.
Thank you.
I wanted to emphasize.
Did you want to acknowledge the attendee or?
I want to acknowledge the attendee in a moment.
Okay.
But I wanted to acknowledge, to state for the record that the things that Pascal had raised still is on the table of the timed portion, not 24 hours for a bus lane. Timed bus lanes make more sense. To have it over 24 hours does not make any sense because it's a graveyard at some point, and it does not make any sense to have a bus lane where people are gonna be trying to like go in there and then come back out, and it becomes like sort of a weird competition that makes no sense. There were other things that were stated that were looked over in your presentation and were stated again today. There was a survey done with a lot of the businesses that had a Spanish speaking person that went up to them, that did not agree with bus lanes, but did agree with the toolkit. I did a survey on Pleasant Avenue verbally, and I got a mixed viewpoint of that it was really I could see it was more generational. The younger the individuals, the more that they wanted bike lanes. The older the individuals are like, we want a quiet street. We like it quiet. We don't want this. You're saying calm, but they, in their head, they see bikes speeding all over the place. And that's not calm for an older individual, that is mayhem. I'm just adding that in there. Khalid, can you be attending? I don't know the name.
Hi, Kevin Perez. Kevin, can you?
Kevin, go ahead, you have the floor.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can, we can.
Hi, my name is Kevin. I'm a resident in the district. I live around 114 and First. I just wanted to, show my support for the project. You know, as someone who uses the bus often to get to the train station and even just get to the west side, definitely more reliable bus speeds are needed for everyone that lives around this area. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, so we have Diane, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to mention to Anthony that you mentioned about the numbers. Probably you don't get the numbers because most of the people that get on the bus on Pleasant Avenue and the first stop are students. Sometimes they will pay, sometimes they will not. So that's probably one of the reasons you see the numbers. The second stop, which is on 117, there's, like I said, 1, 2, 3 schools there from pre-K to high school students. And like I said again, like, they might go in the bus and they'll pay. So by the third stop, the bus is already full. That's why you will see the, people will be complaining that the bus is full, that the bus is getting delayed. And like I mentioned before, like a lot of people are coming up from the mall with the shopping carts, with the walkers, and it's really hard for someone to get up on the bus and to get off the bus. So probably like a bus that would take like 5 minutes instead of just really fast.
So that's
So that's the
emphasizing the, it's
We need a
really
bigger
important
bus.
to have a larger bus.
Yes.
Simple toolkit. Do you have anything to say that's succinct and on top of it?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, do they have the data on the difference between the time bus lanes versus the 24-hour bus lanes? Of why you prefer the 24-hour bus lanes? Do you have that data to support that?
Go ahead.
I was actually wondering if Phil could provide a little bit more context. He's the deputy director.
I was gonna jump in, yeah, so Philip Bethel, Deputy Director, Bus Authority. So yeah, so for offset bus lanes, which is the bus lane, which is next to the parking lane, it's not on the curb. We do tend to do those 24/7 bus lanes. We do that for a few reasons. One of them is for driver convenience, and so that they understand that if you see a red lane right in front of you, it's red, it's gonna be a 24/7 bus lane. You don't have to worry about, is it 6 a.m., is it 6:01? Is the hours, we don't want people leaving and out of lanes. So we find that that's easier for drivers. Other major reason we do find is that yes, in the overnight hours often, there is not heavy traffic congestion at 2 a.m. But we do find the overnight hours also, traffic volumes are lowest. And so we do find that one lane can generally comfortably take the traffic volumes that we see at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Generally we do time of day lanes on the curb. And that's because we don't want to take away parking at 2 a.m. when there are not many buses or there are not many cars. And so that's where you see the time of day lanes are most common.
I'm gonna differ from what you said with the 7 o'clock change that happens. I think it's on Second Avenue, and it's so crowded. So when the 7 o'clock comes and you can go into the bus lane, it helps reduce traffic.
100%.
Statement. And hold on, Luke, was there a person that, okay, go ahead. Jamie John?
Yeah, Jamie.
Oh, yeah, I just want to make a quick note about ridership. And so on our buses, we do have automatic passenger counts. So that's regardless of, if one pays or not, then if there is a count of that passenger going onto the bus and then off the bus.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, I was just gonna further emphasize the point that the counts that the MTA does to determine all the metrics includes people who don't pay. But I also just wanted to point out, the benefits here is that it reduces the crossing distance, and as we've heard testimony tonight, vehicles which weigh thousands of pounds inflict so much more injury, potential injury. And so narrowing this roadway helps.
Can you use the cursor so I
Yeah,
can see it on the
sure.
screen?
Narrowing the roadway really adds more predictability, and we would be hardening these islands with planters or granite blocks to make sure that those vehicles make predictable movements and to shorten the crossing distance across the roadway.
I am just noticing something that I should have noticed before. This is a bus lane and bike lane that you have here on the.
It's just a bike lane.
This is Pleasant Avenue.
Right.
Okay. Yes, go ahead, please state your name first, please.
Leslie Colon, Franklin Plaza board member. I see all the traffic going back and forth. However, you're not also taking into consideration ambulances and fire engines that do use that corridor to get back and forth to those areas. So if you're narrowing it down because people are crossing, now you're narrowing it down for those emergency vehicles as well. So if you're gonna put that island in the street there, what's to say that a fire truck or an ambulance that needs to come across is not gonna navigate or maybe force somebody to hit somebody in that area, in that designated area? So it also has to be into consideration, emergency vehicles, but there's always an ambulance going by there.
Yeah.
There's always an engine or a fire department vehicle going by back and forth because there's stuck elevators in the Wagner projects, there's the nursing home that's there, there's always something going on. So you have to also take into consideration the emergency vehicles that use that corridor to get back and forth. And you don't wanna cause any more delay for the emergency response because of this. Just for consideration.
Sorry about that. Sorry. Sorry.
No worries at all. So that's something that we take a close look at, and a lot of times our bike lanes like this have clearance allotment to allow for the movement in an emergency of some kind of emergency vehicle. So this would allow for 11 feet clearance with 8-foot bike lane and a 3-foot buffer. But yes, emergency vehicles do navigate very narrow corridors, and we try to accommodate their needs as we can. We also, at the intersection of 116, we're adding a left turn lane on Pleasant Avenue. It's going to be about 115 feet long, and this would further reduce the type of congestion, because we're noticing and we're planning for that type of traffic circulation, which starts from the FDR, gets into the East River Mall, and then travels south on Pleasant, and then east on 116th Street. So that circular motion is something that we're trying to reduce congestion for, and it's something that's one of the causes of congestion for that particular block.
Okay, well, now for the emergency vehicles, they do not navigate on those bike lanes. They always take center lane because it makes the cars move away. So they will not go into a bike lane just to get through traffic. And the vehicles, and those, if you ever seen a rescue vehicle, they're a lot wider than a normal ambulance. Okay, the engine company, it has gotten a little bit wider because they carry more gear. So they will not fit in those bike lanes and will not go in those bike lanes because everybody's in those bike lanes. They'll always go in the middle to make sure that the traffic goes to the side.
Thank you.
We work very closely with the FDNY, and before anything is approved for implementation, they thoroughly review. So we'll get back to you if anything changes.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I'm gonna end the conversation here. And we will keep in conversation because a lot of compromises need to occur. Okay? Thank you. Moving along, we will go to the street co-naming request of Perry Thompson Way. Thomas. I had to take my glasses off. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So what should I give a brief overview of his work again?
Make it as short as possible.
You need
Pardon?
No.
You're fine, Rafael.
You are fine to leave if you wish.
No, I'm just gonna say, he's born and raised in East Harlem, he lived on 104th Street. What he's known for is that he's a first Puerto Rican, author to receive recognition. His famous book was called Down These Main Streets. And, one of his famous quotes is, "Gone is the darkness and heart covered by the friendly night. It makes it clear for the dirty-faced kids who were born in the night." So I just want to reiterate that he was instrumental in creating a particular type of genre of writing that led and impacted the New York poetry, the arts movement here.
And we know that you did your due diligence, you went out, you got the, you were out on the corner getting the
Yes.
signatures.
Yes.
We know that the history is solid. We know that,
Well, the package has been submitted and
raise individuals that have a voice in our neighborhood. So therefore, does anyone, have any questions?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve. If there isn't any question.
In lieu of any questions, I'm gonna have 2 seconds. Any questions? Any hands up?
Donna has a hand raised.
Don, do you have a question?
Yeah, what street is this? I'm sorry. If you could just
104th
come.
and Lexington Avenue, 104th and Lexington Avenue.
Okay, is there something there now? Is it already named something else?
No.
Okay, thanks.
And this was presented last month.
I just needed the reminder.
That's why I wanted to make sure that she gave a very succinct portion of it. And Carlos, you may go ahead then.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Yes, you may.
Naming request.
Yes, you may. Can you state the motion?
I said I make a motion to approve the co-naming of Mr. Thomas Wade.
104th and Lexington Avenue.
104 Lexington Avenue, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Khalid, can you restate that?
Carlos Diaz made a motion to support the Piri Thomas Way street co-naming request.
At 104th Street?
I'll write that out in the motion.
The northeast corner.
And the application
northwest.
materials are in the board member drive. You all have access to it.
Yes.
You should also you can link to it at any time.
Okay, do I have a second on that? Pascal seconds?
Second.
Can we make a vote?
Do you want to do a roll call vote? Or do you
Yes.
just want to do any objections or anything like that?
Because I cannot see who is on the online, and so many people online. I'd rather just do a roll call vote, it's easier.
Okay, Pascal Hanau?
Yes.
Hello. Yes, okay. Carlos Diaz?
Yes.
Wanda Hopkins?
Yes.
Jewel Jones?
Yes.
Valerie Ponti?
No.
Don Sanders?
Yes.
Michelle Wilshire Clement?
Yes.
The motion passed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No from Valerie Ponti.
All right, so the second co-naming request, Delicia Pagan.
Yes. Hello again, this is Marina Ortiz from East Harlem Preservation, once again to ask for your support for the co-naming of the northwest corner of 107th Street and Lexington Avenue in honor of the late Dicia Pagan. And the proposal is to name it Dicia Pagan Place. Dicia Pagan was an important person in the Puerto Rican and broader political prisoner community, but also born and raised in East Harlem, and made many contributions in East Harlem in addition to her work in the broader world. She passed away last year, and we felt very strongly about keeping in line with the tradition of honoring our ancestors in El Barrio. We wanted to rename 107th Street and Lexington Avenue in her honor. We chose that northwest corner of Lexington and 107th because she lived in that area. She lived in two of the brownstones on Lexington between 106th and 107th, and then across the street in one of the tenements on between 107th and 108th. We gathered more than 150 signatures from local residents. The majority of those signatures came from residents of Lexington Avenue, which is located on the very corner of 107th and Lexington, where the proposed street co-naming would be placed. We also gathered, I believe, 15 signatures from local establishments, including East Harlem Bottling Company, the local Botanica, the Salsa Gallery across the street, barbershops, and things like that. So we have overwhelming community support from people for that co-naming, and we hope that you will support us honoring Dicia Pagan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just want to make a note that I had the opportunity to work with Dicia Pagan. She was very instrumental in East Harlem when I became a member of the Community Planning Board. I was about 18 years of age, and I'm in support of naming the 107th Street and Lex after Dicia Pagan.
Thank you, Carlos. Do I have a person who wishes to second this? Can I second?
No, you're not. I don't know, Jewel has her hand raised.
Jojo?
To second that.
Jojo second. So can we take a vote since most people are online and I can't see?
Yeah, all right, 1 second. Carlos Diaz,
Yes.
Pascal Hano,
President not voting.
Wanda Hopkins,
Yes.
Jewel Jones,
Yes.
Valerie Ponzi,
No.
Don Sanders,
Abstain.
and Michelle Wilshire Clement.
Yes.
So that's one person not voting. One abstain. And one objection. 4 in favor. The motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, that was very close. Okay, so now we're establishing a planning committee. Wait. Carlos?
Say
We're
that again, I'm
establishing a
sorry.
planning- Carlos, do you have your hand up? Are you talking to us?
No, I don't have my hand up, Madam Chair.
It's
Okay.
I
Now
think
we're
Jewel Jones
establishing.
has her hand up.
Dawn?
It was
Okay,
Jewel, it
no
was
one
Jewel Jones, it looks like. Sorry.
Okay, so Jojo.
But I would join the committee.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to have that we are going to be establishing a committee for the public safety conference that is coming up. You're welcome, take care, good night. And we will be doing that and working together during the summer so that in September we are together and have a space and we can advertise and go out to the community and tell them the public safety conference is gonna be happening. So people have already raised their hands and more people could add on during the summer. Thank you. Okay, and then our new business committee interest in submitting input for the Second Avenue Subway Phase 2 stations design. What is this part?
I sent you guys a link to the subway, Second Avenue subway design phase, and they are open to receiving comments, so you can consider as a committee to provide input on it.
Okay.
Which station?
It's all
the whole
stations,
design.
it's the whole thing, you can just submit input on the design.
What you like about, what you don't like about it, but it's within the agenda, you could just take a look at it.
Oh.
Of this month. Okay?
Okay.
All right, and now, let us have, we can call this.
1 second. Sorry, 1 second. My hand's up.
Go ahead, Jewel Jones, go ahead.
Do we already not have a task force for the Second Avenue subway? What is the point of this committee doing this?
Right. This is just to get specific, what do we feel as individuals?
It's the Public Safety and Transportation Committee, Jewel, so you guys have you liaise with the MTA, so you have a right to submit a comment for it, despite there being a Second Avenue subway task force.
Okay.
Hasn't met this
Yeah.
quarter as of yet.
Well,
So it's just our, adding our voice.
Yeah, I'm
You
just.
have, like,
Wait, just because.
Go ahead.
The reality is that there's a task force. I'm okay with our committee, but there's a task force in place, and if they have, and I'm assuming they were put together for a reason. So if they have, any input, I would like to hear from the task force. They've been in existence for quite some time, so while they may not have met recently, there is a task force. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's committee interest, so if you're interested or not, that's okay. But it would, if there is no input, then it would be wasted. Unfortunately, at this time, the task force, like we said, it hasn't met, it hasn't come up with any kind of response regarding the design. But if this board wants to consider that, at least we could put it before the committee for interest, for consideration. But if you want to, recommend to Xavier to call this, the task force to consider submitting input for design, that's also well within, your purview.
Okay, so now we'll call this adjourned at 9:12. Can you make a roll call?
Yes. Carlos Diaz.
Present.
Pascal Hano.
Present.
Wanda Hopkins.
Present.
Thank you. Jewel Jones.
Present.
Thank you. Valerie Ponte.
Present.
Don Sanders.
Present.
Michelle Wilshire Clement.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for
Good night,
participating
everyone.
and giving your service for
Night,
this
everyone.
2025 time period. See you tomorrow at full board.
Night, everyone.
Bye. Please do.